Okay, today we're going to talk about appraisals. In a shifting market like we have right now, appraisals are a real big deal. We don't have as many buyers coming to the table with the money that they're willing to put into an offer to purchase the property, and one of the reasons for that, we think, is just because of the volatility of our economic situation right now, where gas prices are fluctuating a lot. We have inflation on everything that we buy, so buyers are just not willing to sink extra money into a property if the property does not appraise. When you get ready to list your property, you speak with a realtor or many realtors to see who you may feel the best connection with to work with during your transaction. That realtor is going to bring comparables with them. And one of the important things is that, what we're seeing right now with the market shift is a lot of appraisers in South Carolina, or upstate South Carolina, which is where I primarily do my business, is that they are staying very close to the subject property. So there's a lot of criteria that they need to use when they're looking at comparables to the subject property, which is what we refer to as the listed property. And so one of the things is in the rural areas, which is where I do a lot of my work, we'll go out 3 to 5 miles because with the lack of inventory we've been suffering over the past 2 years, we have to go out that far to find comparables that are most like the subject property. And that's basically square footage, finishes to the property, things like that. If you have an updated kitchen versus what the subject property is, then you would deduct from the subject property to make those two properties like. So not to get too technical, because I know nobody really cares about that. However, most importantly is when you list your house, is to have a list price that you can support, or not you as the seller, but your realtor can support. Because once you get that appraisal in, there's not many times that an appraiser is going to look at any comparables that you use that's going to be outside of the criteria of what they're trying to use. Today, with our market shifting from being a heavy seller's market to just being a seller's market, that's one thing that's going to start to come into play. We're going to see these appraisers using properties that are much, much closer to the subject property than we have seen in the past. So this is just food for thought. If you're thinking about selling, we still have buyers out here that need homes. We just aren't seeing them put as much into the offer as they were, as far as appraisal gaps, which is where they would offer to pay X amount of dollars more than what the appraised value came in at, not to exceed what the contract price was. We aren't seeing any escalation clauses anymore, which is when, a buyer submits an offer and says they'll go up to X amount over your highest offer within the expiration period of their offer. We're just not seeing a whole lot of that right now. So now the appraisers, or the appraisals rather, are going to come into play heavily again, because you're not going to have that leverage of the buyer's offer. So my best advice to sellers out there is this. When you meet with your realtor and you pick the one that you want to work with, have a conversation about the list price of your home. In a shifting market, it's a little bit hard because we may not always have the sold comps that we need to use to put a price on your home. So sometimes you just want to kind of go on the lower end of that to be safe. And so if you get an offer in that's more than what your list price of your house is, that's great. And may it appraise for that amount? It may. But my suggestion is always plan your next move on what the list price of your house is at the time that your realtor gives you that price. So that's it. Thanks so much.